welcome to Daily Dictation. This is an interactive video and it's an activity to help you practice your English skills. The topic this week is friendships and social relationships, and this video is aimed for high intermediate English speakers. So you are going to practice your listening and your writing skills. To do that, I will read 5 sentences and you are going to write down each sentence exactly as you hear it. And you are going to try your best to make sure that the spelling is correct, the grammar is correct, punctuation and capitalization is all correct. After I read these 5 sentences to you, I will show you the answers and you can compare and check your answers and to see what you have written down. Then I'm going to explain some of the grammar in each sentence. I will also explain some spelling tips or tricks. And after that, I'll go through a vocabulary list with advanced vocabulary words related to this topic. This is good to know and good to practice if you plan on doing a proficiency exam such as IELTS, CELPIP, TOEFL, or something like that, because there's always a listening component on those exams. And often you only get to listen one time, so you really need to have the ability to listen and take down really detailed notes that are reliable and accurate. So that's what this helps you with. For this skill of being able to write English exactly how you hear it and make sure it's accurate, it's best mastered if you practice every day. So there's new sentences each weekday, new topics each week, and 2 English levels offered. For the activity itself, you'll need a blank piece of paper and a pencil or a blank document that you can type into. 5 sentences will be read. Each sentence will be read 3 times and 1 more time at the end. You have to write down each sentence exactly how you hear it. You will use your listening skills to do this and try your best to apply the correct spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. So you're going to see on the screen numbers 1 to 5. Each number represents a different sentence that will be read. We're going to start with sentence number 1. Number 1. Despite their acquaintance, she felt a strong sense of trustworthiness in him. Despite their acquaintance, she felt a strong sense of trustworthiness in him. Despite their acquaintance, she felt a strong sense of trustworthiness in him. Number 2. His mentorship provided invaluable insights while her empathy helped him navigate personal challenges with ease. His mentorship provided invaluable insights while her empathy helped him navigate personal challenges with ease. His mentorship provided invaluable insights while her empathy helped him navigate personal challenges with ease. Number 3. They often engaged in discussions that fostered a sense of fellowship, which made their solidarity even stronger. They often engaged in discussions that fostered a sense of fellowship, which made their solidarity even stronger. They often engaged in discussions that fostered a sense of fellowship, which made their solidarity even stronger. Number 4. While her affectionate gestures brought warmth to the group, her supportive attitude encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely. While her affectionate gestures brought warmth to the group, her supportive attitude encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely. While her affectionate gestures brought warmth to the group, her supportive attitude encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely. Number 5. As he learned about their struggles, his empathy deepened. As he learned about their struggles, his empathy deepened. As he learned about their struggles, his empathy deepened. I'm going to read each sentence one more time, starting with sentence number 1. Despite their acquaintance, she felt a strong sense of trustworthiness in him. Number 2. His mentorship provided invaluable insights, while her empathy helped him navigate personal challenges with ease. Number 3. They often engaged in discussions that fostered a sense of fellowship, which made their solidarity even stronger. Number 4. While her affectionate gestures brought warmth to the group, her supportive attitude encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely. Number 5. As he learned about their struggles, his empathy deepened. All right, so those are our 5 sentences. I'm sure everybody did a wonderful job writing them all down. Now we're going to get ready to check our answers. If you found that that video or my reading was a little bit too fast and you need to listen again at a slower speed, you can listen again and adjust the speed and the playback settings of the video. And if you just need to listen to specific sentences again, check the description for timestamps, and this will help you listen to specific sentence numbers. Now we're going to check our answers. We're going to start with number 1. Despite their acquaintance, she felt a strong sense of trustworthiness in him. So just looking at the breakdown of this sentence, we know that we have 2 clauses. Here is one, and here is another. Now, this clause starts with a conjunction, and it's despite. And so this tells us that this is a dependent clause. So because our dependent clause is first and we're starting with our conjunction, after this clause is finished, we're going to put a comma. Now, the second clause that we have over here is actually the independent clause. And so we know this because this has a SVO structure that's coming right in the middle of the sentence. And that's usually a pretty good indicator that before the subject comes and it follows with verb and object, before that flows, we should put a comma to separate that because that shows a new idea is forming there. And so that is why there's a comma right in the middle, is separating the dependent clause and independent clause. Like we've discussed in other videos, if the independent clause is the one that comes first and the dependent clause comes second, then we don't need a comma, which is why it's so confusing. So remember, if dependent comes first, then you do need a comma. A signal is starting with a conjunction at the beginning. Other than that, we do have a possessive adjective here, THEIR. Hopefully by now you have the spelling down because we do get it mixed up with there and there, which both have different functions. So you want to make sure that you're using the possessive adjective form. For the noun acquaintance, she felt a strong sense of trustworthiness in him. So she is the subject, felt is the simple past, and it's irregular verb. A strong sense of trustworthiness. So trustworthiness is a kind of a long word, could be kind of tricky for spelling, and you might have got that wrong. So you want to split it up to trust, worth, ness. So 1, 2, 3, 4 parts to remember all of the smaller parts. Trust is one word, worth is another one. And when you isolate I, you're telling yourself or reminding your brain that we say trustworthiness. And so this one part gets emphasized more than any other part of the word. And so we have the syllable stress in there. So that's another reason why we like to split it up like this. All right, so number 2. His mentorship provided invaluable insights while her empathy helped him navigate personal challenges with ease. So for this one, right in the middle, we have our conjunction, while. And because it's coming in the middle here, we're still separating our independent clause, but we're only doing that with a conjunction in the middle. And here we are starting with our independent clause. His mentorship provided invaluable insights. This can stand alone. If we just put a period there, that would be totally fine. So this is an independent clause. Now, the second part, while her empathy helped him navigate personal challenges with ease, that is a dependent clause. And so here's where our tricky rule comes in. We have it in the opposite way than this one. Up here, number one, dependent comes first and independent comes second, so we need a comma. Here, independent comes first and dependent comes second, so we don't need a comma anymore. And our signal is that our conjunction here, while, is in the middle. As for spelling, everything hopefully was a little bit straightforward. Invaluable might have been tricky. Invaluable. So you can put invaluable, split it up into 3. I always like to keep this suffix all together because that is a common suffix that is put at the end of root words to make it a adjective. Mentorship, you can split it into smaller parts here. Mentor and ship. And hopefully everything else was okay. Navigate might have been a new word. However, it sounds exactly how it is spelled. Navigate. So this one hopefully was okay. Ease might have been a different one because it's a short word, but it's less common. So it comes from the word easy, which is the more common word. So just remind yourself that ease comes from easy. It's a noun. And instead of putting the Y at the end, you're going to put an E to make this a long ease like that. Let's go to number 3. They often engaged in discussions that fostered a sense of fellowship, which made their solidarity even stronger. So here, we need a comma because here, which is not a conjunction, it's actually a relative or adjective pronoun, and it is used to provide more information to an existing clause. So they often engaged in discussions that fostered a sense of fellowship. This is an independent clause, but here we're adding the word which made their solidarity even stronger. So it's not quite a conjunction. It's a relative adjective or a relative pronoun. And it's used to provide more information. We see this in relative clauses a lot. And this relative clause doesn't come in the middle of something. It comes into the middle of a sentence. It comes at the end of a sentence. But no matter what, we still need a comma, but we only need one comma before that adjective, relative pronoun, sorry. And other than that, I think the spelling should be okay. Discussions might be a hard one because you have a lot of S's going on. So I would split it up to discussions, like that. Discussions. And just having this middle part all together really reminds you that there are 2 S's in the middle there, because I think a lot of the times people forget one of these S's here because there's already so many other S's going on. Sense, we've had this before. We want to make sure that sense is spelled with an S here, not C. Solidarity, you could put solid and an arity if that was a little bit hard for you to spell. Solidarity, if you say it really slow, it should be spelt pretty similarly to how we hear it. So you should be able to sound that one out. Number 4. While her affectionate gestures brought warmth to the group, her supportive attitude encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely. So for this one, we can see here 2 clauses. That's one, and then the other one follows. Her supportive attitude encouraged everyone to share their ideas freely. That's an independent clause. And we have a dependent clause up here. And how do we know it's dependent? Well, there's this conjunction while it's at the very beginning. So after that clause is done, we're going to put a comma. And we have her supportive attitude. That altogether is the subject. Her supportive attitude is a subject, encourage is a verb, and then everyone is the object. So we do have that SVO structure that follows right in the middle of the sentence. So before that subject is stated, we should put the comma there. Some tricky words. We've had it before, affectionate. Some people get the A mixed up with an E. So make sure that you remind yourself of the root word affection. And it's different than affect. People usually get it mixed up with the word affect, which is a noun and not related to affection, which is the process of showing love. Another kind of tricky word might be gestures. You should split this one up into two. Jess and churs like this. That one's a little bit harder because the G makes a kind of a just sound. And so it might, and if you've never seen the word before and kind of forget that rule, it might be a little bit hard to remember. And also remember the double consonants, supportive. Number 5, as he learned about their struggles, his empathy deepened. I think overall, hopefully the spelling is okay. We've had struggles in the past, and my last piece of advice in one of the other videos was to say struggles like that. Struggles. And so that's not really how we pronounce it, but it's how I say it when I spell it. Because when we have some LES words or LE words in English, we actually say it like it's struggles, like kind of like struggles like that. That's how we pronounce it. And so if you are hearing that, then you might get the struggles like that, kind of get that mixed up and get that L in the wrong space. Because even though that's kind of how we pronounce it, that's not how we spell it. So when you say struggles and you're gliz like that, you're kind of reminding yourself that the L comes first and then the ES comes second. So which is why I spell it like this. And also I like to split it in two, making one half strug and the other word gliz. So I can remember that there's two G's in there as well. So that's important too. Looking at the structure of the sentence, this is the dependent clause. His empathy deepened. This is the independent clause. We know that because we're starting with a conjunction over here. And so after our dependent clause, we're putting a comma, just like that. So this is a little bit of a breakdown of the grammar that we see in each sentence and how we should split up words to help us remember the letter order to make sure that our spelling is correct. So keep on practicing that. Look at the words that you got wrong and practice, try to get used to spelling them so you don't make the same errors, and look at some of the tips and tricks and see if that helps, especially splitting long words up into smaller bits. That I always find helpful. Even in as a native speaker, if there's a word that I don't know or it's new, I always split it up into smaller bits to make it easier to spell. Now, we are focusing on a certain set of vocabulary words this week. They are a little bit more advanced, but they are good for knowing for IELTS, especially if you're doing speaking or even writing, because this topic comes up a lot in the proficiency exams because it is a pretty common topic. A lot of people can relate it to their lives. So it's pretty common. I'm going to give you a better list of those words that we're focusing on this week. So vocabulary to review, we have the words empathy, trustworthy, affectionate, supportive, solidarity, acquaintance, fellowship, mentorship. If you don't know these words, go ahead and look at the definitions and make sure you understand them. And also get familiar with putting them into your own written responses or written ideas or verbal ideas, and really practice using them. And make sure you know how to use them, all the different grammar and word forms for each one. because if you're able to use this in day-to-day English or able to use this for a proficiency exam, it shows that you have a very, very advanced or very good range of vocabulary, and you definitely do want to have that, especially for going to a proficiency examination. Besides that, we are all finished for today. Thank you so much for watching. Keep doing the best you can. Keep on practicing your English, and I'll see you next time. Bye.